Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 1 Hour AppSec. My name is Laura Belmain, and I'm going to be your coach and guide to all things application security that you can achieve in just 1 hour per sprint. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about some of the foundations you need to consider when you're starting to automate the process of security. So, as we're doing in the sprint, automation is an amazing way for us to reduce the load, to make our lives a little bit easier, to embrace laziness. And laziness in this context is a good thing, not a bad thing. So we're going to use our engineering mindset, which means we totally can automate anything we like. But before we get started, let's go through some things that can quite commonly be overlooked, or some things that need to be done as part of your foundation. So first things first, whatever you automate, we're going to work backwards from not starting with the tool you write or the script you write. That's cool. You're an engineer. I know you can do that. But what are you going to do with the output? So always start at the end of your automation process. So for me, for example, I might want to raise a GitLab issue or a GitHub issue with the result of my automation. Cool. Well, if I want to do that, I need to make sure that I can do that. How would I send a message to that space? That might be an API call. Now, there's other things. I might choose to do a Slack alert. So, okay, I want it to remind me about this in Slack. Cool. Where am I going to send it in Slack? So you're going to need to create these places that things are going to turn up. Now, it's important you choose the places because I'm going to share a bit of a dirty secret because I think I might share that in common with some of you. How many of you have turned on some sort of automated thing that's scheduled? Maybe it runs every day and it sends you a lovely report to your inbox, to your email. And like the first 2 times you read it. And then the third time you're like, oh gosh, yeah, I'll get to that later. And so you do a filter and you auto forward everything to a folder. And before you know it, there's 34 unread emails in that folder and you haven't looked at a single one of them. Yes, that's automation, but is it helping us? Absolutely not. Because if we're not looking at the results, we're definitely not doing anything with them. And if you think back to our previous sprints, where we've talked about measuring our security velocity, it was important that we were not just finding issues, but we were also addressing them. And you can't be addressing them if you're not reading the findings. So let's make a promise, team. No more sending our files straight to dev null or to our inbox folder. It's cool. I don't judge. What has been, but let's make a promise, no more from now on. So we've decided on our endpoint. So sometimes it might be Jira. Sometimes it might be GitHub issues. Sometimes it might be Slack. It could be email, but only if you're promising to do something with it. I'm watching you. Okay, so we've got our endpoint. The next thing we need to do is we need to understand what format this data needs to come into. Right, if it's going to be a lump of text, cool. If it's going to be YAML, if it's going to be JSON, what have we got to get this down to? Because that's going to help us choose our tooling. For example, I'm a big fan of using things like Zapier if I've just got to use an API interface that I really don't like handling myself, and I want to take the work out of it. And so I will use that for things like sending Slack messages, for listening to a webhook and sending something else. Could I build this myself? Absolutely. Do I want to? Oh, goodness me, no. The reason that I pay Zapier a little bit of money each month is so that I don't have to maintain another tool because, well, I already have a software platform that I look after, so I don't want another one. So pick your data format that you need to have and then think about how you need to generate that. Is there a fragility in the data format that you're choosing? Like we all know, if you end up in XML land, you're going to have some pain. If you are ending up in JSON or in YAML, we need to make sure that our structures are valid, and you need to take control of that yourself. Moving back up a layer again, what tool are we going to use to actually automate it? Now, sometimes this is just a cheeky Python script. That's cool. Can get so much done with, say, a Lambda function with a bit of Python or a little bit of Node, a little bit of JavaScript, is going to get you a long, long way. So in the past, to give you an example, one of the tasks I needed to do was to check every so often if my password manager, and I was the team lead for a password manager, if anyone had been logging in from strange places or had logged in too many times and had been logged out. In that case, I wrote a very cheeky little Lambda that queried the API for the password manager so that I could get that report back and I could fire it through to myself as an email for my official record and as a Slack message into a private channel so that I could follow up on that. I'm quite interrupt driven, so that automation allows me to do that. So you're going to find your tooling you're comfortable with. So if you are a JavaScript developer, use JavaScript. If you are a Python developer like me, use a bit of Python. If you want something easier, use a tool like Zapier. There's no judgment in this. This is about getting the job done. There are no extra points for doing it the hard way. In fact, doing it on hard mode is a really silly idea. So where are our foundations? Well, you need a place to send it. You need a data format that can receive. You need a tool that can generate that data format, and then you need your task. And that's what we're going to cover in our next video when we look at the tasks that you need to do in security and which ones are good candidates for automation. All right, hope that was helpful. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and all of those kind of things, and follow along. Remember to share this mission, the 1 hour AppSec mission, with anyone that you know, because the more engineering teams we get doing 1 hour of security every sprint, the more secure the world is going to be.